What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. All right, so let me say this before I get into this video. I've said time and time again how I do not support either the Democratic or Republican parties. I don't think either party has my best interests at heart. And both parties serve the elites. Both parties are served by corrupt heads. And both parties have individuals, either party members or, when I say party members, I mean elected officials, or those who are big-time donors, or those who just support the party in general, who are equally guilty in all of this corruption we're hearing about as far as the Epstein files, okay? Now I'm talking about those within the country, not outside the country, who, you know, we kind of have a gist of who's involved, but the mainstream media won't actually do their job and name names and be the investigative reporters of yesteryear. So it's up to independent media to do the job that the corrupt mainstream media won't do, okay? I've talked about on here Joe Biden and his corruption, the Joe Biden crime empire, their criminal ties to Ukraine, as far as businesses is concerned, money laundering, you know, the shady pardons that he gave his family members. We know about Joe Biden's corruption. We know about Bill Clinton's corruption. We know about Barack Obama's corruption. But I got to say, man, in scope and grandiosity, I don't think there's ever been a more corrupt person in the White House than Donald Trump. Okay? And if this information is correct, right? If this information turns out to be accurate, then Donald Trump needs to be impeached for a third time. And this time, removed from office and prosecuted and imprisoned for the rest of his swollen ankled ass life. Okay. Senator Dick Durbin of Illinois has come out and has made some absolutely blockbuster allegations against the Trump administration as far as what can only be described as obstruction of justice or attempted obstruction of justice. Okay? Now, whether or not you're a Democrat or Republican should not matter at this point in time. Okay? If you really stand for something as an American, you got to put your big boy pants on now, stop playing sides, and really drain the swamp, which is supposedly what this charlatan was about when he ran the first time. Okay? So Dick Durbin says that he has sources that have told him that the Department of Justice instructed the FBI, who were going to have a field of about approximately 1,000 FBI agents, sift through the Epstein files. The Department of Justice instructed them to basically omit any mentions of Trump from the record. Now, that means that if this is true, then Trump is indeed implicated in the Epstein files. The files that they claim now don't exist, but then say, oh, but they say they don't exist now. But then Trump will say, oh, these files were put out there by the Democrats. It's a hoax. But you said they don't exist at all. But then you say the Democrats planted it. So if the Democrats planted it, then how they don't exist simultaneously at the same time? This guy's a fucking liar, man. It's becoming clear as day that not only did Donald Trump know Jeffrey Epstein, but at one point in time, they became thick as thieves. Author Michael Wolff recently spoke on a podcast about something that Jeffrey Epstein once showed him years ago. This is before, I think, the first Epstein probe during the Bush administration, right? Anyway, this is what he had to say.
And I've said before that Epstein used to bring out this set of pictures. There were about a dozen snapshots, and among them, there are at least three that I remember. Two of topless girls sitting in Trump's lap around Epstein's swimming pool, and then one with a stain on the front of Trump's pants with three or four girls laughing and pointing at it. So I have seen those pictures.
So what's your best guess as to where they are?
Well, I'm my best guess is that Epstein kept them in the safe. The safe was emptied out by the FBI. Where are those pictures?
Now, as far as the stain in the front of Trump's pants is concerned, my best guess, I don't think that was seminal fluid. I mean, it could be, I don't know. But I've read and have heard time and time again over the past several years that ever since Trump was maybe, ever since he's been in his 50s, I think, which would have been like the mid to late 90s, he has suffered from incontinence. He's increasingly lost the ability to control his urine stream, right? So it could possibly be that he peed himself a little bit and the girls was laughing at that, pointing at it, probably some type of well-known, not so secret that many of these girls know about him or knew about him at the time. Now it's pretty much well known, or at least rumored, I'll say that, not reported, but rumored, that to combat this now, especially as he's gotten older, and I'm assuming the problem has gotten worse, that he wears diapers, But not saying that to be funny or anything like that, because that can happen to people, men, especially men as they get older, and women too. That's not to make fun of them, but the more serious thing is that, if it is indeed true that the Department of Justice, or vis-a-vis Pam Bondi, is telling Kash Patel and the FBI and the deputy, what is his name, Bottinger, whatever his name is, if she's telling them, we got to do X, Y, and Z to protect the president, well, that's a layup obstruction of justice. A layup. That's a layup. You don't get any more transparent, pardon the pun, as far as an impeachable offense. That's why now all of a sudden you're seeing this full-fledged deflection tactic, all these conservative outlets, now all of a sudden targeting Barack Obama, who I'm not a fan of, but it's clear as day what they're doing. They do this every time. Deflect. Nobody gives a fuck about, who cares about if Barack Obama said that every straight man should have a gay friend? I don't agree with that shit, but who cares? He's not president of the United States anymore. And what's more important? Barack Obama talking about, whether you believe that Barack Obama is gay or whether we have a man in the White House who was friends with and partook in disgusting, deplorable filth with a PDF file, and is possibly himself the chief PDF file of the United States. Are you kidding me? What are we at right now in this nation? Are we that divided that it's more important for you to be on your team and save face while you let the country morally decay and burn like Nero? What is wrong with you motherfuckers? Seriously. Now, look, if you're a Republican, right? Even if Trump, look at it like this, if he is guilty of this, it's not like they're going to remove your party from the White House. Trump ass just goes to gets the fuck up out of there. You know what I'm saying? Trump gets either impeached or he resigns, which makes him vulnerable once again to all the various lawsuits and things that he's been able to be immune to for the most part since he's been president. Okay, but the vice president becomes president, who last I checked was Republican. So your side still wins if that's what you're looking at. And the Democrats, look, there's a lot of people on that list that are on that part. So it's like I said, I don't have a dog in this fight. I don't care what party you with. All I said is, I want people to keep the same damn energy for everybody else that y'all cut for Diddy and all these other motherfuckers. Anyway, that's all I got to say about it.